Hello, hello, hello. Welcome and well met. Welcome to the stream. Oh my gosh, these headphones sound weird with this. I had first time using these headphones. Oh my gosh. They're much better at canceling out sound. I sound so weird. Okay. Besides getting immediately sidetracked, hello, I'm Leona Theodosia, and today we are playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We are on the resolve half of things. Seriously, this is gonna trip me up. It sounds so weird. Everything is muffled. That was not what I wanted to do, actually. Ah. Oh, I should double check, make sure we're good. I am getting tripped up today. Alright. We're doing the first case today. This is our first time doing the resolve side of things. So, I'm excited because we're getting into the parts where it's like a lot of my favorite parts, not just like the ending one for the ending episode slash case for Adventures. That is very good, at least in my opinion. I realize other people are gonna have different opinions. I'm a teeny bit sick, so if I start coughing and stuff, that's nice. So bear with me. I don't sound sick, but I am sick. Just ever so slightly. I've mostly gotten over it. Okay. How's the volume? Oh, this is working. I should probably turn this down because I need to check always my volume for my video games because they are going to be so different. But as you can see, Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, because we were doing Adventures before. Now we're on this. And I would have started up right away, but it immediately jumps into cutscenes and all that, because I checked. So, we're in the title screens. Alright. Let's see how much of this we can get through today. Wait around. Ooh. Oh. Right, the scene. I remember this now. Hello! It says...
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital.
Okay.
You know, he's flourishing into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court. Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
Found myself faced with an awful crime. Oh, it's just a brat again.
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer. So please, I ask for your guidance. Kazuma-sama.
It's one way to open up a game. That one lady from the tutorial for the last thing is dead. It was what, just about Brett? Yeah. Something like that, at least. Something tripped me up. That my voice is so muffled, I need to wear my headphones weird. So I don't get weirded out. Okay, so 13 August, 8:26 a.m. Oh, it's the end of summer. I almost said spring. It's definitely not spring. Well, is there any time? Is it spring in the southern hemisphere in August? Because I know, let's see. No, it'd be the end of winter, wouldn't it? I guess it could be the beginning of spring. Depends. Because when it's summer in the northern hemisphere, it's winter in the... Yeah, I did say northern. I'm like, did I mess up there immediately? No. Summer in the northern hemisphere, I think it should be winter in the southern hemisphere? I'm not familiar. There's not as many people who live down there that at least speak English that I know of. I have seen some. I just don't encounter them as much. It makes sense. There's a language barrier and just, like, time differences. There's a lot of barriers. Point being. Makes it a little wee bit difficult. I would like to know. I'm curious now. Not the point right now. A nice little opening, and now we get to play as Susato! I think this is literally the only case. Yeah, because Riri Inosuke throughout all the episodes in the first one, and we will be so in the after this, which shouldn't be too surprising if that's surprising to you. Hello? It's weird that we're being Susato. Read the room, please. Okay. But yeah, we're Susato. I think I need to turn up my volume for this. Now it's too quiet. My own volume, like for my headphones. I think you guys should be still fine, hopefully. Okay. Here I am again after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. I feel so nervous. Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep wear my headphones funky so I can hear what I sound like. I need to do the voices properly, or at least do my best to do so. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Mikotoba! Ah, good. You're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. Hardly recognize you. Got a fine figure, Consul. You look but you look as white as a sheet. And those white eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous. I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born. You shouldn't say that to your dad! Goodness. What the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Exactly! Yujin Mikotoba, professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. A man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me. Yeah, I knew that was right. Hi. Would I be correct in thinking you are to be my lawyer in court today? Yes. That's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear in my life. It's a complete fabrication, this whole thing. I like her. I think we only get her around for this case, which makes me a bit sad, but I'm just like, I like her. Maybe I'm wrong in that. I don't remember every little thing. Ray Membami. Ah, that was hard to say. Born the same year as I, and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the university research laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Once again, defending best friend. The staple of the Ace Attorney series. Is it really an Ace Attorney game? We don't have one case that doesn't involve you befriending your best friend or something. Or a best friend defending their best friend. Yeah. accused of committing a truly awful murder. When is it not murder? Seriously. Is there any cases that aren't murder? Oh, wait, I think there was one. Maybe a two. So I think the person got knocked out. And they don't wake up until after the court. But I think it usually is murder cases. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flustered. Oh my, it's just that... You look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. This is still funny. Susato. Like, Goodness. I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? I hope I'm doing Rei and Susato's voice at least slightly different enough you can tell who's talking. Dude. If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yes. I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. This does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? Are you connecting the dots, Rei? I'm really surprised I don't get secondhand embarrassment from this interaction. That is just funny to me, because this is usually the kind of thing I get really just secondhand embarrassed. But nope, it's funny. Still funny this time. What? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say anything sooner, Rei. No, what are you doing? What's going on? What? She's freaking out. That varsity uniform, the varsity cap, the varsity cape, the varsity badge. Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial Yume University. A male student. She's ready to crunch Oh, this is still really funny. I am so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Did you forget there's a law that women can't be in court? Like, unless they're a witness or something like that? Or the defendant, I guess? Need a little drink, sorry. It's gonna be common. I have to fill up my water bottle. I might need a water bottle refill break at this rate. Again, the aforementioned, I got a little bit sick. It wasn't too bad at all. It's just like my throat's been like mildly itchy and easily irritated, which is annoying. But I'll take it over being actually full-blown sick. I had that once already this year. I have gotten my little, I got sick ticket after 4 years. I don't need to get sick again. I need to be more careful. Did I read this? I already don't remember. I'm gonna read it over just to be safe. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Oh, right, I did, because I was like, hey, there's a law. Well, you see, it was the only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial. My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. Look at her face! She's so touched! Hello, Grandma Iris. Welcome, welcome. Oh, Susato, you'd go to such lengths for me. You are her best friend. Of course. You're my greatest friend. I just worry I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Ray. It's so strange, though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman... What a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. I can't keep a straight face. Ha ha ha. Ray. Please don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. I can't help but laugh. It's so silly. I love it so much. Oh, I am sorry. It's just, you really do look so dashing. She has a crush. She totally has a crush. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice. You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man. I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Bolster. Right. You're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I notice how your shoulders are slumped, and how you're trembling ever so slightly. Susato, you do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder? Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I've absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence. Which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. Oh, she didn't even get to see that bit with Ryunosuke in the last stream. Oop, hi, Margaret. Welcome, welcome. It means so much to me, Susato. Yep. Defendant, counsel. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Oh! Stand aside! She just belted that out and bolted. I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. Well, Susato, you certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom with no prior experience of being a lawyer. There is simply no other way. At all, that's all there is to it. But father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this. Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It'd only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with that. And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim was? We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field. I'll do what I can to support my student. Thank you, Father. Da da da! Stuff is already hitting the fan. I'm Susato Mikotaba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times have I wished that he were here, I wonder. Still, I have no choice but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. Let's go! First trial! 15th August, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicial Courtroom 1. Always like the words. So weird. Oh, okay, Mikoto is standing outside. I didn't remember if he would. Goobers on trial. Such fun. Yes, there are going to be goobers. It is Ace Attorney after all. We're going to have an eccentric cast of characters, and some are going to be more comic relief than others. This courtroom is now in session to hear the trial of Rei Membami. Prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. Ouchie. Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready. Oh. Ready? Ah, yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Is that correct? Sorry? Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture. So I'm afraid to say simply put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel? That's right, that's me. Yes, I'm Ryutaro, he who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. The judge is like, what's going on? Seems Ryutaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. Those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen. Naruhodo? Ray. A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. The name Naruhodo. Would that perchance be? You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. This is, his cousin. That's right. Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any Tokyo's preeminent lawyers. Any of them. A pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accusers had to call in a country boy. How dare you! Sasato's every bit as gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. Don't use her name, Ray! I won't have you making fun of her. Her? Oh, Please be careful, Ray. What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes are very much suggesting that he is not. I am so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, eyes are wont to flit. I have no idea how it would hold up in an actual defense attorney position. Probably not well. That's a lot of pressure defending somebody. The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interest. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire. Just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet, for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock. Dear me. Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense. To determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago. And a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now. He was just as wide-eyed. The same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, Consul, do you consent to answering some simple questions? Oh, she took off her cape. Alright, it's time to prove myself. She doesn't know. Yes, Your Excellency. But please do make them simple. Very well. To start with, you will state the name of the victim. Phew, that is simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. Ah. What's the matter? Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are wont to blank. It's not surprising, really. Your first time in this position, and that guise. And a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances. Oh dear, this is a dismal failure. Don't fret. You'd only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem. Of course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record. That's right, just use the proper button to open the court record. Okay, I'll just do this. And don't take too long over it. His Excellency is watching you closely. I'm just gonna skip the moments where it's just them talking about, hey, this is how you play the game. Alright, check the court record with... check the court record. That's where the information I need will be. Okay. It's... just about. Yeah. Giselle. Giselle Brett. The victim of the case whose former British... Oh wait, the victim of the case who was a former British exchange student. 9 months ago, she was found guilty of the murder of visiting Professor Dr. John Watson. And there's... Take Suchi Aochi. We've seen it before. I'm waiting, Consul. What is the name of the victim in this case? It's Giselle Brett. I didn't need to check that. She's just copying Yunosuke. Oh, it's Rutaro now. It's not Susato. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. How is she? Smell it. Giselle Brett. A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. Being a member of our empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why then, is her name indelibly associated with our own empire's judicial history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. But if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court record. Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett. Behind the woman's student persona was the face of... Queen Victoria's option? A killer. The killer is the... That's the proper answer.
Yes!
9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed. And the culprit was Giselle Brett. Yes, she was a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain. And it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours. Oh wait, I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotova? I'm assuming that's so. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh, that's what he was studying. He was studying English. That explains why he knows English. Why did they use a picture of Ryunosuke getting startled by Asogi? I was like, Kazuma! Kazuma Asogi, that is. And there's Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense. And exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Yep, that was the first, I think, 3 parts of the series? Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when the question about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion. Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead. Why Shanghai? There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligation was to see the woman safely on board a steamship. And yet, the very day before her departure, the English woman was killed. Only the day before? Dun dun. That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant. Oh. Oh, bow. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle. Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Aochi. Hello. As you wish, Your Excellency. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th August, in broad daylight. Seagulls! Forget everything else, there are seagulls. On the outskirts of the imperial capital, under a bright blue sky, at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. Crab! There's also a crab! It's behind the text box. Crab! It's probably like a false crab. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. Basically, it's a stab wound to the back. That's what they're saying. Like the actual back. An injury which proved fatal. There were 2 persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire, and the accused, Ray Membami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady. Why is there... Okay, so that was thoughtful, which makes sense. Why is the judge surprised? Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say. That's certainly true. The prosecution's summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about. Okay, probably the powerful motive. He did not elaborate. Please elaborate. You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement. Is the yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand? Beg your pardon. No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Membami-san, you are a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe. Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment. I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility. Fascinating to hear. Now another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then? Oh, well, I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson. Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago. Yeah, I can see why that would be a plausible motive. Killed their teacher. Which is just basic somebody they knew. I don't know if it's enough of a reason, but that's what the prosecution's going with. The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true? Okay, maybe, it seems like it is. Okay, yeah. Okay, understood. Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man. Interesting. And tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the English woman who killed him. Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. Powerful hatred. No, Ray, be careful what you're saying. Ah. The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency. Well, it was clearly a trap all along. How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. We must find out more details, and something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about... Oh, we gotta go through them all? Okay. Baiting spot. If I may, prosecutor, what do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student? I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot. Ah, my apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. Swimming spots, in other words. Bathing was a term used for swimming, meaning you would go bathing. It didn't mean you were taking a bath, go get clean. It meant you were swimming. I know, confusing. I probably should have mentioned that earlier because this does not confuse me. I already knew this. Even when I first played. I just noticed that lamp. I'm going to get distracted. That is a nice looking lamp above my head. Hello. You look awesome. I might take notes on that. Maybe I should use that from like one of my backgrounds. That's a nice lamp. Anyway. 40 minutes in. Just look, distraction. I will get distracted by architecture. And objects. I like artistic objects and architecture. Not everything. I have my preferences. But still. Yes, sir. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins. No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? Got your tongue there, Ochi. For old time's sake, I believe. Sorry. Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at her country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply. But on what grounds would we agree to such a request? Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. This was a legitimate concern at the time. This is like turn of the century, to my knowledge. I think it's gonna take until the 3rd episode of this, where they mention there's a centennial fair, and it's obviously, it's not the 1700s to 1800s. Too modern for that. It's definitely 1800s to 1900s, so I'm like, that's why I know the time period, which is really funny, because I think people forget that detail, and they start, like, putting string and dots everywhere. Like that one meme, and I'm like, it's not hard to figure out. They're having a centennial. Do you not know what the word centennial means? Please look it up. There's online dictionaries of any. But yeah, it's around the turn of the century. Exactly how much before and after, you probably have to check to like the time frame of the game. I think it might start 2 years before. It might be 2 years, might be 3 years, but I'm like, it does start a bit before, because there's month-long time gaps, so yeah. But there is a centennial in this, so I'm like, I know it's a little bit before, like, a year or two before, because again, there's months-long time gaps and blah blah blah. It was like 2 or 3 years before the turn of the century from the 1800s to 1900s, and I don't know why people find that so hard. Like, you know, they're having a fair just before the turn. I mean, it's not happening, like, the lead up to, because that'd be in winter. It looks like it's in the summer or something. Or maybe the fall. I'm not sure. Wait, is there leaves on the trees? I think we do see trees. Leaves. But you can figure it out because of that. Maybe I'll do that while we're going through this, but I can't do that now. We're not at a point where I can slide. We do end up in the fair. I'll figure out then. That's a ways off, though. It's quite a ways off. I'm getting sidetracked again. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal. Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. Can't blame that on Ochi. In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong. That did not work out. Oh, wait. Is that gonna be Hosonaga again? I think it is. Maybe? I hope it is. I want to see him again. I'm rather fond of him. He's got a good moral compass, so he ends up helping people out. I appreciate him. He was nice to Ryunosuke. I like him. But in fact, a murder took place. I said don't look at me! It was that young student girl who did it, not I! Oh, he's funny. Apparently it's pick on Aochi hours right now. No one has proven that yet. I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to. At this stage... Oh, okay. Go back to the lines of dialogue. Okay, being alone together. Mimbami-san. Yes, what is it to... I mean, Naruhodo-san. Poor Ray, she's really not prepared for this. I'm really starting to wish we'd made my alias Ryutaro Suzato. Oh, that line with the face she made. I love Susato's oh dear face. It just reads it so perfectly. Like you don't need, if you put it in anything, I'd be like, what is Susato going to oh dear at? Who messed up and she's pitying them? It's a good expression. Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place, and why you were alone with her. Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present, a detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all. Let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there's only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. Yeah. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life. No. Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again. I like how there's just a couple of people you can see. Kindly refrain from conjecture, Consul. He just laughs. I believe we have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions. I'm sure she was an absolute delight. Her name is a pawn off of Just a Brat for a reason. I'm sure she's awful to be around. She just sounds like one of those people who, like, watched all, like, the mean girl characters growing up and decided, well, they're always said to be popular, so how to be popular is be mean. But in reality, it doesn't work that way. In reality, most people won't like you. Except for other people who are dumb enough not to realize that only works in fiction. Okay, that might be a little harsh, but I'm like, no, most people like nice people. It's the whole phrase of honey attracts more flies than vinegar, which is, I'm not a pleasant animal to be compared to, but hey, we have that phrase. Or just, I guess honey attracts more things in general. You put out a dish of honey and a dish of vinegar, you're gonna see more things go to the honey. Like butterflies. Butterflies would get attracted to honey. Certainly bees. Bears. Others. Probably rats. Maybe mice? I don't know if mice would eat honey. I know rats would. Rats eat anything. They would absolutely eat honey. I wonder if some birds would try to eat the honey. Now I'm curious. I'm not gonna try that because that's a bad idea. I'm gonna attract all kinds of things. But now I'm curious. Maybe I should look that up. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked once again. That's the stream, isn't it? Leona gets sidetracked. I suppose it happens in this game. Okay, get rid of this. Seeing the murderer of the mentor for whom she had such great respect, enjoying such undeserved liberty. Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition. That was it. I got this word correct it's like a minute ago. Why am I like this? Extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment. Poor Ray. So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit. A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident. Is it a little bit in color? No, it's still black. When we're in Britain, we get colored images. We're in Japan for this case. Yes, thank you, Consul. Tragic image. As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut that anyone could have hidden. Yep. The court will accept this photographic print as evidence. Yay! Court record. I would look at it, but it's just a picture. It's like not much. It will not. It's just expects the player. I'm like, you know, like just look at it. The characters will not talk about it. As I understand it, then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant. Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence. But witnesses? But who? There was the detective, for starters, that was aforementioned. One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt. Ugh. Come on, Susato. I still like how the judge's mallet is a lucky mallet, which is a reference to Japanese folklore. I really wonder how much else I'm missing. Wait, hold on. No, we don't have that. Oh. I just noticed at the corner of the... What is this thing called? Desk? Podium? The thing in front of the judge. It's table-like. Essentially a fancy table. That has a special name because it's a fancy table. I think that's the... It's the one of the badges. I don't know if it's the defense one. Well, I guess we have if it shows Aoshi again. Wait, is there another one, different one behind me? Hold on. That was the same on both sides. Okay. I'm like, oh, now I'm curious. Is that just the judicial little symbol? Because I think that was on well, it's technically Asogi's armband, but Ryunosuke wears it. After Asogi dies. On that steamship episode, episode 2. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm calling this episode 6, even though it's going to be calling it episode 1, I think, if it hasn't already. But it is the 6th episode in Chronicles, so I'm going off of Chronicles, because that's what I'm playing. Otherwise, this is going... I was just thinking about it, I'm like, I could differentiate, but it'd also get confusing, I'm sure, to some. I'd rather just keep it with Chronicles, so if you don't like that, too bad. That's what I'm doing. Oh, wait. I don't think I read that. Oop, not that. This button. Very well then, counsel. Bring forth your witnesses. Why is Aochi... Wait. I, Taketsuchi Aochi, have been waiting for this moment. Oh no, it's round. And his was, like, something different. Sorry. Yeah, that's, like, more cross-like. Okay, so I don't know where I've seen that symbol before. I feel like I've seen it on something elsewhere. Eh. Oh yes, I haven't forgotten. The trial 9 months ago, here in this very courtroom. When that irrelevant little student boy utterly humiliated me. His hair is still down. He lost his top knot. Ah! Ryunosuke Naruhodo! Yes? This insult to a Aochi family name will never be forgotten. You've become conceited with age, Consul. The old have to stand aside to make way for the new. I have not done Kazuma's voice in a while. I'm happy about this. It is the way of the world. May you never forget that. He's a little sword happy. I also like how the detail of Ryunosuke scooching away, further away to give Asogi some room to swing. Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of culture enlightenment tolls. Yes, that fateful day, my formal self died. The start of your own mini Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, Consul? Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there's been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the ouchie girl. Why do you phrase it that way? It's just a little curl of hair. You see the seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown? I think the tiny brother is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see. Where is the hope exactly? I said silenced! Today, I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you. And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. Why are you phrasing it this way? Feels so weird. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand. It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. Prosecution and defense each has much to lose. A haircut is hardly comparable to Rei's life. You tell him off. It is! Hosonaga! Oh yeah! Soseki! Natsume Soseki! Wait. Soseki Natsume. Yeah. I'm like, wait, which name is first? Pretty sure Soseki's first. Natsume is the last name. Typically. I guess. I wonder if it can't be his first name? I am not familiar with constitutes a first name and last name in Japan. I only know because I see enough characters like with the last name Natsume, mostly because of Takashi Natsume from the Book of Friends. Or Yujincho? Yujincho? Okay, can't remember how to pronounce that in Japanese quite. Been a while since I've heard the Japanese name. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. I know both of them. Also, Hosonaga looks so silly in his swimwear. Why is he wearing that actually still? Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Oh wait. I think I had a more higher voice. Imperial... that thing. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Yeah, that's better. Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously. So I can go undetected. Why do you have a turtle strapped to your head? I just realized that's a turtle. And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital, in fact. Yes. Oh my gosh. Where did you come from? Hi. Hello? Whooms? Not Soseki. There is a camera... journalist? That's probably a journalist. He's got an armband. Hi. I forgot you were in here. I'm trying to remember who you are now. Soon to be sold out, the satirical I Am a Cat. A sensational success by Soseki and Natsume. Oh my goodness. Struggling student from the provinces, please. You needn't be in awe of me. I needn't? It's only natural you feel nervous in my presence. But all of you, please relax. Call me Soseki, even. Okay, so that is his first name. That's the big thing in Japan. You use people's last names until they give you permission to use their first names. So, there. Yes. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here? I have no idea. I honestly forgot. Tread carefully, Suzato. That author feller knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun. Yes, of course. I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that it's been since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. I have something on my face. He's just concerned. Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. Ah, I suppose it's disguise. I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Dude, you have a turtle on your head. I know, right? I got distracted by that. I was like, wait, that's a turtle. Hello. Oh boy. I just remembered that I think all tortoises count as turtles, so you can call a tortoise a turtle. But turtles are not tortoises. This is why tortoises also have the name of land turtle. So I think that's hasn't been really common use for a long time. Random facts. Let's see. Yeah. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Bureau detective might have been present. Well, what business did a writer such as yourself have been at the scene, Soseki-san? Ah, well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture. On the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less. At Yume University? At the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department. The professor over there, in fact. With Professor Mikotsuba. She almost got herself revealed. How many times is that gonna happen? I wish I had a counter right now. Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about two former students who'd studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. They secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and sculpture my privacy. Like that guy's doing? As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. He practically threw that paper at me. Also, I do notice there is a stack of papers and whatnot over there that I know wasn't there beforehand. So I think that's because of Suzato. She came prepared more than the boys did. Soseki is a goob. Agreed. Oh wait, it hasn't been added yet. I wanted to look at that. Now it's added. Now I can look at it. Sorry, I'm skipping through your dialogue right. Well, not skipping, but I'm like, I'm not reading your dialogue right now, Soseki. And, I need to adjust my glasses. Hurting my face. Whole head, but eh. Let's see. Soseki Natsume article. A newspaper containing an article about a discussion between my father and Soseki-san. The day came quite spirited. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that pose. What? What is Soseki doing? Oh, there's a crack. Whoever took this photo had a crack in the lens. It's just a picture. Not read it. There's a cat. Yeah. Look how happy Soseki is, though. He's having a fantastic time. Mikoshiba is just like more quietly amused. So there's also, yeah, I dude on a bicycle. Hi. I wonder if this actually can be read, or at least in part. I see hiragana I recognize. Is there any, like, katakana? Maybe? Well, I think those are numbers. Maybe? Oh, wait. I recognize that one. Those. I wonder what it says. It really is the stream of Leona gets distracted by things. Anyway, following my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I believe Soseki is getting laughed at by the dad for his goofy antics. Probably. That's not, I'm sure we'll get more info about what's going on in the picture later, or shortly. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work at my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course. At which utterance, the university immediately contracted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her. That detective, I'm at liberty to divulge, was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosono... Yeah. I've been saying his name, and now I'm messing it up. Satoru Hosonaga. Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. But fortunately, I'm at peak physical fitness at the moment, so I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. And he's bleeding again. Hosonaga! It's been how long? Go see a doctor! Probably what he's sick with has treatments at this moment. During this time period. Hosonaga. Why? Oh my, Inspector, well, you do have something on your face now. Turtles! He has turtles on the towel. Ah, how unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father? No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. But if only I had! I never had seen that awful sight! Relentlessly cracked by remorse, I regret! He's so silly. Very well. I must now ask you present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you have witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am. Oh no, his eye's twitching again. That was happening a lot back in London. The witnessed scene. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in the skies. I just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me. Ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question. Yes! The young lady was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly. I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times. Multiple times? Do we have the autopsy report already? Okay, wait, hold on, before I read that. Oh yeah, we do! Time of death, just after 2 p.m. Death is believed to be due to trauma on the victim's lung from a knife blade. Only a single wound was identified. Okay, yeah, I was guessing that it would probably, they're like multiple times. I'm like, it was probably only once. Yeah, victim, Giselle Brett, female British, time of death, 11th August at around 2 p.m. Ascertained by the examination and witness statements. Cause of death, single deep stab wound from behind, pierced a lung and resulted in fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. Notes. Extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, was observed in the victim in both eyes. Interesting. Hosonaga must have led an interesting life with all his undercover jobs. He really must have. Ooh. Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here have here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime. What? Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes. That was it. Damning evidence. What have you here, Consul? A so-called fountain pen, is it? What was I trying to say there? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moment, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer. What? Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more. She is clutching a pen. Ah, goodness me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately. There in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah, the owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. R.M. Ray Mimbami. The initials of the defendant. Ah, no! I like how she's just copying Naruhodo. This fountain pen will be omitted immediately as critical evidence. Pen. Fountain pen has been entered in the court. I don't know why I read that. So, have I omitted anything? Decisive testimony and damning evidence. Not really decisive testimony. I immediately clocked something was wrong, and I didn't even remember it was only one stab wound. From when I first played this, because I hadn't read the mortuary report. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe... Yep, he did say ascribe. To ascribe guilt, I feel. Oops. Come on, get up. I don't understand. Prosecutor Aochi of 9 months ago had none of this man's poise. Counsel for the defense. You may begin your cross-examination now. Come on, get up. Naruhodo-san. Naruhodo. That means... Oh, yes, me. Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom? Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. Cousin Ryutaro, pull yourself together, please. Alright, I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witnesses' testimonies to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. Let's go! Cross-examination. The witness scene. Alright. I need another drink of water. Oh goodness. It's really full. Okay. And water required. Let's see. Not this. I'm kind of curious about the crab, but I don't think that's where the dialogue would go. It's just personal curiosity. Oop. Oh gosh. Yeah, the young woman was a straight English woman, dagger in hand. She stabbed wildly. I think it's this one because he specifically says multiple times. Also, I just remembered we haven't looked at the pen. Oh no, we cannot look more at the pen. Okay. The pen that the victim was found grasping in her hand, it carries the initials RM. Okay, but I think we just use this because it's a single wound.
Objection!
Freeze frame. That with that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me. I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed. What is the meaning of this menacing pose, Counsel? I'm pointing at you. She's just pointing at you. I'd like the witness to clarify something for me. Who? What? Where? When? How? Not you, Soseki-san. This query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. At me. In your statement just now, you said the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said, when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be. What? Get to the point, please, Counsel. She still has her book animation, yes. In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only. Ah. Oh. In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is clearly flawed. And Soseki-san, me, you claim to have seen Nembami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim. Yes, I did. Wildly. Oh. Hold on. Oh, right. This is, I think, this is Suzato-san. I think it only plays for her. It's kind of a mix of Pursuit themes, and it has a bit of Kazuma's theme in it. I think it might also have a bit of Ryunosuke's theme, because she is calling herself Ryutaro Naruhodo. Naruhodo at the moment. I tripped myself up on it if I got the wrong name, because I used his first name and then I used his clan name. I'm tripping myself up now. Fantastic. Oh man, I love the music of this game. I was listening to Great Pursuit before I started streaming. I'm not gonna lie. But both you and the inspector confirmed the same point, that there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and it's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there is no way there could have been blood on the knife if a single stabbing hadn't already occurred. True. And what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body. That can't be! Also not gonna look so silly in a bathing outfit. Excellent work, Suzato. Mikotaba, don't use your daughter's name! You exploded at them without objection, and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically. Objection! Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with half-baked objection attempting to steal the show. You're right, there were certain similarities. Except the so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who has only half a head of hair. Slander! My head is quite adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing, withdrawing, and multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference. What? Why not? Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was that moment, just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim. Ugh. All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance. Oh dear. It looks like he feels shame. I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion. But if she was withdrawing the blade, then we are back where we started. Sorry. Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And with a demon's cold-blooded composure, too. The prosecution demands an explanation, and it had better be good. Why did Ray pull out the knife? Ah, yes. Going for the jugular. What does father mean by that? Let the court hear your answer then, counsel. The truth is, I don't really know. But I have to come up with a plausible reason here. Or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out of the victim's body was surely so she could... You know, I just realized it's been over an hour. I want to save. Which file? What's this one? Oh gosh. I'm just gonna save on a new file, you know what? I'm like, which one was I using before? I don't remember right now. I'll just make a new one. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now we actually have a proper save file, not just the auto saves. I'm like, wait a second. Okay. Save her life. Because obviously you don't want to say stab again, and we don't want to say that she was trying to hide the knife. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury. Indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer. Not real choices there, I know, right? It's just, are you paying attention? It's still the tutorial, so there's a lot of just, are you paying attention checks. The point is, being a medical research assistant, Mibami-san was compelled to act when faced with the wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. Everyone's quiet. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? I almost said young. It would seem this is the best we can expect of this young yokel. Indeed. Is it just me, or does it suddenly feel much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may. Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify. In respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the yokel defense counsel, I mean. Slipshod? An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopeful has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense. In real life, pulling the knife would have the opposite effect. I know. We'll actually get there. I do remember this case somewhat. There are instances where you do want to remove the knife immediately. And we'll be getting to that. Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion. Yes, sir. We'll do so flawlessly. Osanaga, what are you gonna say? Is the second gonna talk? Forensic medical primer. Pulling a blade... Yeah. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. It's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget that the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor. Is what you said just true, Inspector? Pulling a knife from a wound really caused the wound to bleed heavily. Yes. The weapon itself has a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until the doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed. Oh, I see. Ha! This is why yokels should stay on the farm. Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it. Where are you doing this, Aochi? That's a criminal offense right there. Also, it is true. Plus, I guess, random little tidbit, if somebody is losing a lot of blood, keep them warm too. I just want to put that out there because that's not, to my knowledge, exactly well known or well disseminated. Is if somebody has excessive blood loss, also keep them warm, because they lost blood. It makes it body function reasons. Loss of blood equals colder. So you want to keep them warm. I just figured I'd put that out there. Hopefully no one has to use that knowledge, but if you do, you might be grateful for it. I really hope not, though. Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see. Or pulled a blade out of a wound, so... Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit. Mother, is it true? What they're telling me? Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware of it. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways. But then, why would Ray have done it? Could she have pulled out a knife in full knowledge that it could be fatal for Miss Brett? I don't know. Aochi is a jerk, I agree. By the way. Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but... Could my friend actually have... Susato. Yes? Pull yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Ah! Consul, it's time for your cross-examination. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving to my adjudication immediately afterwards. Deep breath. I understand. Leaving in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard. Yeah, it could be hard. No kidding. It's not like you would know any better either. About what has and had not happened. Okay. Okay.
Hold it!
But the defendant had suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground bleeding to death. The sight could have shocked her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently. I really don't think inadvertent actions can explain this. The turtle's head bobs up and down. The woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would behave so irrationally. Oh, but irrational behavior is a woman's prerogative, isn't it? Oh, I whacked. Really? I bumped my desk and that was the whole thing to jiggle the cord enough that it got unhappy with me? Why are you so sensitive? You little jerk. Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views. Oh dear, perhaps I'm letting my male persona take a hold of me a little too much. Well, I have managed to convey the basics now. I should cover the medical side of the argument. So forget, the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. Let's see. The man the victim... Yeah, the man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected man. Hold it! Is there anything to glean from here? Well, yes, that's true. Dr. Wilson recognized Mimbami-san's talent and offered her the position of assistant despite her being a woman. She was extremely grateful to him. Yes, the Englishman appears to have been a very broad-minded individual. Wilson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he believed firmly in Mimbami-san's abilities. Clearly, the defendant was in the man's debt, which only serves to prove my point. Loop around dialogue. This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere. If Ray knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Risotto. It's at times like this when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals. Fundamentals? Evidence is what counts in the courtroom, isn't it? Of course, but I've been through the court record dozens of times already. I think perhaps you're forgetting something, though. You need to take the evidence at face value. You can and must examine it in greater detail, too. I know this. Ah. I realize this is your first time playing the role of lawyer in the courtroom. So if you need reminding of the rudiments, you need only ask. I'll do my very best to help. Examine the evidence in the court record. It's an idea, certainly. What should I do? I know what to do. Please don't try that. Come to think of it, Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san were always turning evidence over and over in their hands. Yes, I need to examine things in greater detail. By the look in your eyes, I see it's coming back to you. Go through the court record again and have a thorough look at everything. You might just find a clue. Yes, I'll do it straight away. Okay, thank you for the hint, Dane. Alright. We have this. He has a pen. What exactly is gonna help us here? She definitely doesn't have it. Yeah, she doesn't have that knife in her bag. That's elsewhere. Okay. There's a drink. It looks like she was holding the drink more of. Also, there's feathers everywhere, I just noticed, because of the freaking swan on her head. Okay. Extreme meiosis. Pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes. That might be important. Look over the dialogue. I don't think it could cause heavy bleeding. It's basic knowledge. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife out from the victim. Maybe I present the... Okay, I'm gonna save it, because as per usual, reloading usually takes less time than going through the dialogue again. What's this off? No, that's just... Okay. I was worried my headphones were acting up or something. No, it's just... I'm good. I'm good. If I do this... Objection! No, the music didn't change. Yeah. Does it have something to do with the fact that the eyes were... wasn't dilated. It was constricted? Right? Yeah, constriction. They were constricted. Her pupils were like pinpoints. That's... not good. She was in a dark room. Because the door was probably closed. It's rather shaded in there. Her pupils should have been bigger, not smaller. Something's up. How do I convey this? Oh, what is this about? Oh, it's letting me examine the newspaper further now. Rude game! You didn't let me do this before! Your anxious England returnees tell all. This is the interview with you and Soseki-san, is it, father? That's hilarious. With the swan on it? Yeah, that's... I've never personally seen such a hat elaborately decorated. I have seen historical hats that do have a lot of stuff on them. From what I've been told, there were occasions where live stuff like taxidermied birds would be set onto hats, but I've never seen them, nor photos or anything. That's just, you know, what I've heard about on the grapevine. I don't know how true it is or not, but I do know hats of the time period could get very elaborate, and they definitely had a lot of feathers on them. But I'm not sure if it was the extent to have a fake bird on them. Well, one of that size at the very least. A small little fake bird, yeah. You know, or a taxidermy bird, like a songbird. Which, that's kind of sad because, what? You just killed a little bird to put it on a hat? Teeny little bird, don't kill the bird. Rakshas? Oh, Rakshas. Oh, okay. Rakshas England returnees tell all. This is the interview with you and Soseki-san, is it, father? Now we have the close-up. It looks as though it was quite an exchange. Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on the neck. I do hope you weren't hurt. Okay. That's just the front. What's on the back? This is the newspaper from Soseki-san. There seems to be an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. Yume's medical research. Father, isn't that your lab? Let me see that. The poison's been stolen? It's this morning's paper that Soseki-san gave us. Are you saying you didn't know? Very soon as that is for the head of the laboratory, I didn't. I've not heard any such thing. Where on earth could the reporter have gleaned this information? Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning the story in our paper this morning, was there? It's highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence. I'd put Ray in charge of the project. Ray? She was managing it. If what's written here is true, it means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the details were leaked somehow. I don't believe it. We need to read this article very carefully. The article about the poison has been... Okay, so now we have the poison article. Now you look. Second thing. Okay. Oh, I'm in the way now. This is not them talking to each other. Also, I just realized how adorable that is, because you have Susato and her dad on either side, and I'm like, actually, that's kind of adorable. I'm just, family! Family bonding, let's go! Okay. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. Following a lecture at Yume by Soseki Natsume on the 11th August, it's come to light that a very disturbing incident took place. A deadly poison being secretly developed in the university's forensic science laboratory was stolen. Deadly in tiniest quantities. Even the smallest amount entering the body, either via the mouth or via a wound from a poison-laced blade, would prove fatal in minutes. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. The university would have to be consulted. Okay, why is the poison being developed? Onset of symptoms occur in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and ending with acute constriction of the pupils. Ooh! Prior to death, such symptoms would be suggestive of this toxin. It's apparently an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids and rumored to have been commissioned by the military. East Attorney, the cases where all the English gets to travel. All the English gets to travel. That's a bit rude, don't you think? Not everyone from England dies in this game. Like, for instance, Herlock Sholmes is fine, Iris is fine. See, Baroque Van Zeeks is fine. There's a plethora of other side characters that are perfectly fine. But apparently if you're an English person, you come to Japan, watch your back. The 2 English people we've come to Japan in this game have not made it out. Yeah, you put it together too. Don't, if you're in an Ace Attorney game and you're an English person, don't go to Japan. Oh goodness. Okay. But constricted pupils. Okay, that was what I was looking for. Okay, so now I can just present this because I'm on the same thing. Oh, you know what? I'll save. I just got a bunch of stuff. And again, if this isn't the right place to put it, it is easier to reload than it is to go through. You got it wrong. I'm just... There we go. Okay. Plus it wouldn't hurt to save because we just went through a bunch of things. Here we go.
Objection!
Yay, the music cut out. We did right. No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What? Ha! The yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but also a poor loser. Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified? It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from the laboratory at Imperial Yume Unit.
Objection!
The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case. But... Prosecutor Aoshi, you will let the defense speak. Agreed, he is a jerk. But a newspaper article. The court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry. Counsel for the defense. I'm going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentioned affirms your assertion. Your Excellency! Yes, of course. Thank you. Ray would have done something to further Ray would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in the article where it says... Hold on. Yeah, it's not the first page. Yeah, fatal in minutes. Probably the second, because this is why she's pulling the knife out. It's because it might be poisoned. The deadly in small quantities that he wanted to get the poison out. I think that's where this is going. Let me get another save before this, so it's right before here. Sometimes I know what to argue, but it's just like, how is the game going to argue the point? I can think of one way of arguing, but I'm like, is that what the game wants me to argue? The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes. Are you suggesting? If the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Mimbami-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible. Yes, the truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body. What? Explain Sasato's theme. This is complete and utter nonsense. Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body, not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility. Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhaging. Nearly an hour, you say, is the death sentence. Say. No, it's more, I'm like, if I get it wrong, it's just easier that way. The word poison appears nowhere in the document. Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking hold. Oh please, this is clearly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind. Poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is at all reliable anyway. In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive. But instead you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. You must have a strong reason for her suspicions then. Or the argument makes no sense. Exactly! Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it, yokel? Why did Ray suspect the stolen poison was involved? The constricted pupils. If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. What? You can't possibly. Try me. Watch me. From your expression, counsel, it would appear those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. The court demands evidence. Yes, Your Excellency. We're well aware of that. I've seen it many times, from my place at his side in the Old Bailey. In that case, counsel, you present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the poison in the newspaper article? This one's easy. Postmortem. I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the postmortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, was observed in the victim. Ah. Also not gonna piece it together. Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death. Well... Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. Yeah, because the muscles are not tensing up. They're releasing. That happens. That makes sense. There was extreme constricting instead. That's most certainly unusual, yes. What are you doing, you yokel detective? In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occur in minutes, ending with acute constriction of the pupils prior to death. What? If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely. Yes, the medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt. Prosecutor Ouchie. I think you'll agree. This is very compelling evidence. You yokel student, yokel professor. I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions. No. Eugen Mikotsuba. Yes, Your Excellency. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please. It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know. You don't know. The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft. Do you mean to tell the court that the reports of this theft are unfounded? No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say. Ha! Listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft of a secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in the newspaper. I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision. Father. A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allowing them off on killing sprees. That's totally unfounded. You? Everyone's surprised. It's Ray! She pushed aside the two men. None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault. Ray? Bami-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated. But it was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been stolen that day. What? So you knew. I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day that the professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount it was. Why didn't you let me know immediately? I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken. So I decided I'd try to get back before anyone else found out. I wish I knew if the Kanji no Uchi's fan was one for idiot. Oh, I think you can look that up. I couldn't tell you where off of the top of my head, but I know that information is out there. There has been people who went through this game to translate the kanji. So feel free to look it up. I needed another drink. Because I had a very good idea who the theft was. The theft? No, wait, the thief? Oh, so she said I had a very good idea who the thief was. The thief? You don't mean? Yes, of course. It was that dainty English woman. It's Giselle Brett. That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me if she knew she was untouchable. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then, she suddenly got to her feet, before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes they'd shrunk to tiny pinpoints. I don't believe it. In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison. My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips whilst I'd been with her, which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body. On the blade of the knife in her back. And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade. Yes. The amount had entered her bloodstream small enough. She might still have a chance. That's what I hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time. Everyone's quiet now. Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I've duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end. Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance have shifted a little here, in this courtroom now.
Objection!
Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say. Well, Minbami-san, if that's the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed. Well, you have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge.
Objection!
But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you? You put the fan away. Oh, I have evidence, and it is very much conclusive. What's the prosecution counsel? Yeah. What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it. You will produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Aochi. Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student. What? I had imagined there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you brought this on yourself. What the? Could a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on that beach is almost palpable. She's in the swimsuit, one of the stripy swimsuits too. This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused's murderous nature. For it shows the precise moment that Minbami-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back. No, that's not true, no. I don't believe it. Oop. Bye. Order, order, order! Counsel for the defense! Was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom? Perhaps his voice has yet to break. These yokels are slow of mind and slow to mature. Like, that was a girly scream. I'll show you who's slow to mature. She wants to punch him. Careful now. Suzato is starting to show her face here. Oh wait, no, she wanted to do a Suzato takedown. It is often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will now accept this extremely cognate photograph print as evidence. Okay. That. Oh. You know what's being blocked by, there's a crack in it. Like in the lens. Just like with this picture. I'm in the way, but... See, there's a crack. It's the same one. Okay, I'm just skipping through it. I'm like, I'm not trying to read this. Okay. That's gonna be important. I can't believe he's had a oh, wait. Yeah. I can't believe he's had a photograph like this up his sleeve the entire time. Such a stark image. I'm genuinely lost for words. Wait a minute. I don't understand. How did you... I mean, who took that photograph? Hey.
Objection!
That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention. Oh.
Objection!
That's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Ah! I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once. This is why you were hesitating, isn't it? Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. Pardon? You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. But there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown. Goodness. Are we to understand then, Counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nonetheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court? When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment. Because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you? Silence! You yokel of a student blabbering professor? What matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses. But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but the moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings. Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. And then the scene it captures is with... And I think I need to move this cord around. It's not so fussy. Oh. That didn't help. I knocked the thing over. Hold on. I just knocked over the switch entirely. Good job, me. Okay. Why are you being so fussy today? I have to do this. Just holds hands out because are you going to behave now? Yeah, sometimes it's like somebody walks by and it will just be like, nope, not working. And I'm just, why? Other days, it's completely fine. And I don't know. I'm like, no consistency. And I'm like, I can't just like move to a different place either. This is the best I got. So I just have to put up with it along with everybody else. Okay, from the top. And the scene it captures is without doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear. Oh no. Fusato, this is the time for you to fight. If you've established so far is true, then there can only be... then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim. Yes, we just need to prove that somehow. You'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow track back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Taketsuchi Aochi in a court of law. I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial's going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it. I already figured it out. Well, the newspaper. Don't they usually say who takes the photos? Well, counsel. Your Excellency. The burning question is, who took that photograph? And the truth is, I have the answer. We have the newspaper. It has the same crack break in the lens. This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal. What? No! You can't possibly. But as you so boldly claim that you can, please, do enlighten us. Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name. How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe you could? However, I am able to present evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. What? Very well then, counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of the mystery photographer? It's probably this one. I want to save it. I don't trust myself always. I should probably more. This one.
Take that!
What is that? The newspaper again. Raucous England returnees tell all. It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side. Ah, yes indeed. It had already caught my eye as it happens. Ah, what of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably. That's not how shadows work, Aochi. From the branches of a tree or the like. There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university. I can assure you. Now, if you look closely at this photograph... It too has a thing, not that you can tell through the chat. Good gracious! Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph too.
Objection!
Well, that tells us nothing. Haha! Yes, a shadow of some kind, definitely, from the branches of a tree. There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, Consul. Caught. Yeah. What's quite remarkable about it is that the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity transpire? The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is a result of... a camera defect. Because there's a crack in the camera lens. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs. With the photographic device? Yes, we can confidently say the camera's lens must be scratched, and that the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device. In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. But there must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one.
Objection!
I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Aochi, that one of the photographers featured in a newspaper article. Oh wait, was it not photographer? That was probably photos. Yeah, that one. I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Aochi, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. A newspaper? Ah! That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime. What? Ah! Caught. Who? That was a weird sound. Who? What? Who just shouted? Hello, Soseki. I see why you were called a raucous England returnee. What are you yelling about? Already testified. It's It's Mini Memo. Wow, that's hard to say. Mini Memo. Mini Memo. Memo. Oh my gosh. Mini Memo? Mini Memo. Mini Memo. It's a pun off of Mini Memo, as in a small notepad to take notes upon. It's Mini Memo, I tell you. Mini Memo! Mini Memo! Hello, Soseki. That is a close-up. Hello! It's our buddy. He is striking weird poses again. Soseki-san. What was that? Did you say Mimi Memo? Ever since I returned to Japan. A reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Raten Mimi Memo. Oh, hey, look, RM. Like on the pen. Yes, hounding me from dawn till dusk. Ah, now that he mentions it. Yeah, the guy who just showed up out of who knows that guy. He looks like a Lupin the Third character, not gonna lie. But that's old dialogue. Could that same reporter be? A camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle with Ratan Mini Memo. That's hard to say. It's like a tongue twister. So you're saying that this picture was taken by Mimi Memo, yes! My lord, your excellency, Esquire! Officer! Find this newspaper's reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime. Oh, yes, your excellency. As you say, your excellency. And one more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task, understood? Ouchie. Meh. Mimi? He just yelled out the guy's name. Mimi Memo! That's a tongue twister. I'm just gonna call him Mini Memo, probably. Yeah, I figured there was gonna be a to be continued. I wonder if I'll be able to get this done in actually 2 streams. Yes, I would like to save. Okay. We're gonna leave it there. Where is this? Hello. I am now bigger. Yay, we're on it. We're on Ace Attorney. I'm having fun. Hopefully you had fun too. Obviously, I do remember some things of what happened, so sometimes I'm like, we need to do this. I know what we need to prove. But, I would say, like, we're, like, halfway through. I would think I thought this was a little longer. But once again, it's another tutorial trial where you don't know who the actual, like, who the actual criminal is. I'm like, how to word it. But hopefully it was fun. I mean, we're getting a bunch of return characters. Ray's new. I like her. She's a good friend to Susato, and I think it's still absolutely hilarious that she has a crush on Susato because Susato dressed up in a manly attire. I'm like, that's funny. I'm like, I think Ray is bi, Your Honor. She clearly likes men, but also I think it's a bit of a spoiler, but it's barely anything at all. It's not to the actual story. It's just she's still has a bit of crush on Susato even afterward, and I think so. I'm like, Ray, are you bi? No shade. I just think it's silly that she's so flustered. I'm like, that's your best friend. Completely didn't recognize. Also, yeah, hard to take off. Let's see. But yeah, that'll do it for today. I really wonder if Friday, when I'm streaming this again, will we be able to get through the first trial? It took, I think, 3 streams to get through Adventures. So that's what I was expecting this time, but I'm like, we're going through this at a pretty good pace. Is the second half longer than I remember? I need to go check. Maybe, another stream people have. Mine always takes a bit longer because I am reading things out and talking. Oh, I'm still expecting 3 streams, so just got through more of that than I thought I would. Which I suppose is a good thing. Yeah. I'm so glad we get to see more Hosonaga. He's such a treat. He's so weird. And of course, Hoseki always brings his eccentricness whenever he's around. I'm like, there's not a dull moment when Soseki's around. Oh boy. I could do without Aochi. He's still kind of just a jerk. I'm like, I miss Barack. Can we get our... I mean... Barack's a jerk in his own way, but he flicks the wine glasses around and... what is it? Heel drops? Where's the axe kick? I can't remember the term right now, but he does... I think it's heel drop. Lifts his foot up and slams his whole leg down. His whole leggy down. On the podium. And I still think that's one of the funniest things. I'm like... I don't think there's a prosecutor who does something more amusing than freaking Barack Von Zieks. It's just very funny. We will be seeing more of him. It's gonna take... Yeah, we'll see him next episode. Like, in-game episode, not episode as in stream, I mean. In the game. I don't know which stream we're going to be seeing Barack again. But... yeah, I think... There's 5 cases in this game again, and it takes till the... well, episodes. They say episodes. I should use the word episode. There's 5 episodes again, and I think it takes to the third... yeah, the 3rd episode to get into present-day stuff. Because this is a flashback, as we saw, because Suzato went up to Kazuma's grave. And I know the next one is also a flashback. It's with Ryunosuke, though. It does bring up some important plot points later on, so it's not just why do we have this. There's a couple of things, and by a couple I mean some like very important couple of things. But yeah, yeah, jeez. I'm getting so excited. This is the second half. This is where we're reaching the climax and a bunch of fun things happen, so I'm excited to share it. Hopefully you all viewers, my subscribers with my nieces, or just happen buyers are having a good time, because I certainly am. I do enjoy this game. I enjoy Ace Attorney quite a bit. I'm still not playing Apollo Justice's Lines of Game. That's 3 games in one, and I know people are gonna want me to play all of it, and I'm like, no. I'm not doing it. Even though the actual Apollo Justice, the first, not like the trilogy collection, is one I've not played before, and I've not watched a walkthrough either, so that's new. I still haven't gotten it yet. I'm terrible. Anyway, that's it for today. If you can leave comments if you want, if you're watching this as a VOD, or just have something to say afterward, I don't know. Feel free to. If you're liking my stream, leave a like, I would appreciate it. And if I guess you want to see the rest of the series, want to see how it plays out with me doing all the voices, because I know people like the voice get attached to one particular voice, so if you want to continue hearing my takes on all the characters, consider subscribing so you can get and you know, notifications. There's the, what is it, notification bell? Yeah. You can hit that too if you want. I always forget it's there. I don't use it personally myself because I check myself. I get annoyed when it's like, hey, there's a thing up. I'm like, I'm fine right now, I'm doing something else. It's annoying. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, you know, like, comment, subscribe. You don't have to. Just if you want to, because that's the reason why you should be doing it. And I appreciate all of you coming, whether you're subscribers or not, because you're taking time out of your day to hang out with me, sort of. More of watch my stream. Watching. You took time out of your day to watch what I'm doing. That's probably a more accurate describer. Or listen. I actually don't know if you're watching or listening. Anyway, watching or listening, you're taking time out of your day to come here. That's more prod. There we go. That works. But yes, I very much appreciate it. But for now, I must leave you out with fun farewells with bye-bye, and I hope to see you another time.